There is an absolute insistence that feudalism itself only began sometime in the 8th century under the Carolingian dynasty and ended sometime in the 15th century. For those thinking that armed service was the only means that those under this system could serve their obligation to their lords and masters, are not taking note that even history proves otherwise, with payments of money or taxation being a replacement of this service, exactly as seen today. Likewise, it will be argued that the customs of feudalism were abolished by such historical events as the French Revolution or the Reformations of Napoleon, which helped create what is now called the nation-state. Again, these events and many others did nothing to abolish or stifle the system of feudalism itself, except perhaps metaphorically rearrange the deck chairs on the Titanic. It is said legally that custom trumps law, and the customs of feudalism are sustained and practiced by the populace every single day. Capitalism, communism, socialism, distributism, etc. are all simply branches that lead to the same tree. It will be shown clearly, rationally, and definitively that every person exists under a fiefdom and always has. The legal scholars and pundits can ferociously argue against the facts, but the evidence is overwhelmingly clear when it is looked at. To use an example, if one were standing outside in the rain, getting soaked and feeling cold, they would not say to themselves or to anyone standing beside them, "It's definitely not raining." Yet, a person claiming to be a meteorologist or a professional weather expert comes along and states that it's not raining because rain was abolished from weather systems centuries ago. What would you say in response? This professional is adamant and passionate about their mental position, and in fact has already convinced everyone else that they've come across that rain is certainly something that doesn't happen anymore, and what you're experiencing at the moment is something that's just called proprietary wetness, because humanity is now free from the environmental effects that were previously placed upon them from what the ancients experienced and knew as rain. Proprietary wetness is a natural phenomenon that has nothing to do with oppressive rain or water coming down from the sky. The expert goes on to explain that as you experience this proprietary wetness, the mind plays a trick with your eyes and makes it appear that your external environment has water falling as if from the heavens. It is touted that this is simply an illusion or trick of the mind, which is very similar to the illusion of emotion, and that there are also no such things as emotions, but only different chemicals produced by the brain, which are interpreted as signals which the person then senses or feels. The argument seems to make such logical sense, even though all of the evidence points out that everything that is being said is a total fabrication built upon a foundation of lies and deception. Yet, all of your friends, family, neighbors, and the rest of the world have already been convinced that rain doesn't exist. It's completely absurd to accept this proprietary wetness as a fact. Yet how does a single person, an individual, think and live outside of the boundary that has now been set up for them by the mob? Feudalism no longer exists simply because we're told it doesn't, even when everything outside of personal opinion is telling us that it does? That is the dissonant situation that is happening. Black magic is used for personal gain and the continuation of systems which support greed and contempt of everyone else except for the self. The example of rain not existing is akin to black magic mental manipulation, which is what is happening by telling everyone that feudalism doesn't exist when it clearly does. Let's continue. The written definition